PHRI Bali asked not to rush deportation, that's for traffic violations, and a driving license requires active BPJS health card. That is already underway in Buleleng as a trial, and stay tuned for details on these stories and more. Selamat siang. Welcome to the latest news from Bali and Indonesia. This is July 5th, 2024, and my name is Bruce. And, well, it's been a little while since my last one. It has been so busy here in the kampung. We've had a couple of birthdays. We've got another grandchild who will be here anytime soon. And lots of repairs and renovations on the house and my wife's continually expanding garden up on the roof and on the balconies on the third and now second floor. So busy, busy, busy. When I retired, how many years ago did I retire? 15 years ago. Never thought that I would have all this stuff to do, more stuff than I can possibly get done in a day, even in a week. But it's been really busy. So back again, and a follow-up on a previous story about people calling for deportations of people violating tourists and foreigners violating rules here in Bali. And some more bureaucracy. It's going to make it a little more difficult for some people to get their driving license or renew theirs. And what is the weather like today? 29.5 degrees Celsius. The wind speed 14.5 kilometers an hour, and the humidity is 67%. And it is very, very nice today. But we did get some rain. I heard that other places got a lot of rain. We didn't get that much rain up here in Buleleng. A little bit, but that was day before yesterday. Kind of a day and a half of some light showers. Okay, let's get started with the first story. Reckless foreigners on the road deported. BTB says this can bring in quality foreign tourists. Okay, here's one that's in favor of the deportations. Immigration's efforts to deport foreign nationals who are reckless on Bali's highways are supported by the Bali Tourism Board, the BTB. When confirmed, that the chairman of the Bali Tourism Board, Pak Gus Agung, said that Bali currently needs law enforcement to deal with tourists who misbehave in Bali. Yes, indeed, at this time, Bali is in need so that we are not considered lacking in law enforcement. They, foreign tourists, are seen as being brave because there are loopholes and we seem to be less strict. I agree, they should be deported immediately, he said the other day. When asked whether the deportation of reckless foreign tourists on the street would reduce the number of foreign tourists visiting Bali, Pak Gus Agung said it would certainly have no effect. He said, we've served tourists as best we can so that they're very satisfied here in Bali. Pak Agung said more foreign tourists are coming and everything is easily made viral. So it looks like there are a lot of people doing this, behaving badly. So, he said, we support increasing law enforcement of deportation. If there are tickets because of recklessness, that does not have a good image. Our task in the industry is to provide an experience that's satisfying for foreign tourists, and this can be done with law enforcement so that their enjoyment is maximized. So this is one view, the BTB, the Bali Tourism Board, saying, look, if you're not going to follow the rules, the traffic rules, you're out. And not everybody agrees with that. Pretty harsh for not wearing a helmet. And PHRI Bali asked not to rush regarding the deportation of reckless foreigners on the road. The many violations found by foreign nationals in Bali while driving on the road have prompted immigration to carry out deportations. Responding to this, the deputy chairman of the Indonesian Hotel and Restaurant Association, PHRI, said, of course, the implementation of this deportation is considered from the immigration viewpoint, but he said, my suggestion is that this needs to be reviewed. What this means is that there are foreign nationals who violate traffic laws because they see residents doing it. And so there's an example. they follow suit by violating it. This is difficult to enforce the law because of that. He said, people say when they get stopped for not having a helmet, look, what about those people over there? Pointing at some local people who are not having a helmet or who have 4 or 5 people on a bike, illegal. And they say, why aren't you stopping them? And so, according to PHRI, he said, that makes it difficult. He said he hopes that all people will be educated to obey the law. He asked the government to introspect that local people must be good examples so that they did not become bad examples for foreign nationals staying in Bali. Moreover, currently immigration is actively carrying out deportations for lots of stuff, and PHRI questioned where the deportation costs come from. Does deportation really have a deterrent effect on violating rules by foreign nationals? He also said deportation is not a guarantee of good behavior by foreigners. He said we need to obey the rules ourselves so that tourists follow. Don't rush. This will actually be a burden for immigration if they keep deporting people. He suggested if there are foreigners who are violating traffic laws, it's better to take a photo as a first action. If they violate again, take strict action by issuing a ticket, or more extreme, confiscate their driver's license and vehicle registration. He said it will be more complicated that way, and they'll be scared and they'll obey the police. And speaking of driving, what about driving licenses? It's going to be a little more difficult to get your driving license, a new one, or to get your old one renewed. Why? You're going to have an active BPJS health card. Managing a driving license requires an active BPJS health card. Buleleng has started. It started up here. Driving license management, driving licenses known as SIM here, must now include proof of BPJS Kesehatan membership. However, this is still a trial, one which occurred in Buleleng. The head of the traffic unit of Buleleng Police explained that the additional requirements are provisions that have been regulated in the regulation of the Republic of Indonesia National Police Perpol number 2 of 2023. The regulation is an amendment to Regulation of Police number 5 of 2021 concerning the issuance and marking of driver licenses. The inclusion of the latest requirements explained in Article 9, Paragraph 1, regarding the administrative requirements for issuing a driving license. So you're going to have proof of an active BPJS membership card. Now, there has been a lot of news stories about this over the last few days. However, my wife didn't know about it, some of my kids didn't know about it. It's still being socialized, so it's in the trial period now. The trial of SIM processing with the additional BPJS membership is being done in 7 regional stations: Metro Jaya, Aceh, West Sumatra, South Sumatra, Bali, East Kalimantan, and East Nusa Tenggara. The police here started the trial on Monday, and since the trial began, it's been recorded that 60 people have processed SIMs with these latest requirements. It is explained that there are still many drivers who have accidents on the highway. There was a story the other day that Bali is the second most dangerous place in Indonesia to drive. So it turns out that a lot of the people that have accidents aren't covered by health insurance. And this is what is the government's concern. The new policy applies to the creation and extension of SIMs. The purpose of the policy is to ensure safety while driving. Technically, SIM applicants can register as usual. However, when they want to get their printed SIM out, they need to show proof of active BPJS membership. This is in a trial stage until September, when it will become mandatory. Checking membership can be done by showing your BPJS Kesehatan card, like I've got, or you can do it via the mobile JKN app, and I've got that on my phones as well. So you can just show that your membership is active with your card or your phone, and then you get your driving license. If it is not active, if you have it but it's not active, you need to activate it. It may not be active because you're not paying your monthly fees, in which case you need to do that in order to get it active again. If you have a large back payment due because you haven't paid, let's say, since the pandemic, you can go to the offices and work out a payment arrangement with them and bring a letter showing that you are doing that and show it to the police, and then they will give you your license. So according to the articles that I read, the police are going to be very helpful in getting you through this new requirement for your driving license. Now, interestingly enough, doesn't say anything about if you have private insurance. What if you've got private insurance and you don't have the BPJS, the National Health Insurance here? I don't know. Good question. A couple of videos ago, I was talking about Japan and problems Japan was having with tourism, and then I forget who gave a link to Italy, I think, and the problems there, because there's problems with tourists everywhere. Well, I have a lot of friends in Korea, and they're having some problems there too. So let's take a look at a couple of them. Jeju cracks down on jaywalking and littering amid increase in Chinese tourists. Yes, jaywalking. In response to a significant increase in foreign tourists visiting Jeju Island, local police have initiated a special crackdown on jaywalking and littering. Jeju police conducted an enforcement operation at the Jaewon intersection in Jeju Sea, a hotspot for foreign tourists, as part of a broader campaign to curb violations of basic public order. During a 90-minute period last week, 6 individuals, including 4 Chinese tourists and 2 residents, were issued tickets for jaywalking. Among those ticketed was a Chinese couple who protested, asserting Chinese police don't give tickets for jaywalking. Some Chinese tourists expressed distress, with one tearfully questioning the focus on Chinese nationals, saying, "Why are they only cracking down on Chinese people?" As multiple Chinese tourists were cited consecutively. The Jeju Special Self-Governing Provincial Tourism Association reported that over 86,000 Chinese tourists visited Jeju in January, marking a 136-fold year-on-year increase. Wow. The figures represent a recovery to 91% of the tourist numbers seen in January 2020 before the pandemic. This crackdown follows recent online controversies regarding the behavior of some Chinese tourists on Jeju Island. Incidents include a child, allegedly Chinese, photographed defecating on a public street, and images circulating of individuals leaving trash in a convenience store, despite signage requesting patrons to clean up after themselves. Over 350 jaywalking incidents have been recorded in Jeju this year, with more than 70% of them involving foreign nationals. A police official said, "When we speak with foreigners who have been cited, many incidents appear to stem from cultural differences rather than intentional misconduct. We recognize that these cultural differences may also apply to other basic public order violations beyond jaywalking. As a result, we plan to produce pamphlets and other informational material to educate foreign tourists." Sound familiar? People coming to Bali, right? The do's and don'ts. And another one. Please talk quietly as touristy neighborhood drives residents away. On June 3rd, the heart of Bukchon Hanok village buzzed with foreign tourists clad in traditional Hanbok clothes, snapping photos amid the historic backdrop of traditional Hanok houses. Despite guides holding signs urging silence, groups of women in hijabs chatted by Hanok gates, and Chinese tourists led by flag-bearing guides called out to each other, adding to the clamor, while tourists dragging suitcases added to the noise. The village, a mix of Hanok stays, cafes catering to tourists, and residential spaces, displayed numerous signs in Korean and English stating "No outsiders" and "No smoking." Some alleys were blocked with "No entry" signs, reflecting residents' strong desires to maintain peace and privacy in their neighborhoods. Over the past 5 years, Bukchon's population has declined by 12.1%. Similar issues plague Jeonju Hanok village, the largest in the country, where complaints from residents have led to their departure, leaving mainly merchants behind. The population of Jeonju dropped by 38.7% from 2014. Former residences have been transformed into cafes and restaurants, altering the neighborhood's character. Most original residents have left, and the village's identity has been diluted with restaurants catering to foreign taste, according to a Korean resident of the area. On weekends, nearby roads are paralyzed, making it best to avoid the area. Busan's Gamcheong Cultural Village has seen a similar trend with its population halving from 2010. Residents left due to traffic congestion and waste issues caused by the annual influx of 2 million tourists in a traditional area. In Seoul, residents are frustrated by noise from long queues at popular restaurants. Signs in the alley near a famous pork cutlet restaurant read, "Get out of this alley quickly. Your noise is disturbing the residents." Wow. Merchants have also posted notices asking patrons to be considerate and use apps instead of waiting in line. The trend of businesses moving into quieter, cheaper residential areas has exacerbated conflicts. The trend is accelerating, and we're responding with signs against illegal parking and littering, according to an official from the Mapo-gu office. The situation is similar in trendy neighborhoods and other areas of Seoul. China's tourists used to make a scene in front of the Ewha Women's University, and now even Koreans who come to eat in the alley are noisy and unbearable, an office worker said. Experts warn that the influx of tourists is overwhelming certain areas. The problem is that people are crowding into certain areas and exceeding their capacity. The Korean government's goal of attracting 20 million tourists this year needs reevaluation, according to a professor of tourism. Policies should consider regional capacity, distribute tourist zones and times, and engage residents in planning. And so, let's add Korea to the list of places that are dealing with too many tourists, or tourists that are behaving inappropriately or without consideration of local residents' needs. So sometimes it's good to take a look and see what other countries are doing with theirs, because it's easy to look at stuff here and go, oh, why are they doing this? You know, nobody else is doing this. Other countries are dealing with some of the same problems that we have here in Bali in their own ways, sometimes strict, sometimes not so strict. And if you've got a link to another country and how they're dealing with their tourism issues, please put it down in the comments. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks for viewing. Be kind to someone today. Stay safe, and I will see you next time. Hopefully not so long next time.